The security manager of a multinational organization is on a mission to apply security principles to a newly planned regional office that will connect with its existing global infrastructure. This task aims to minimize the attack surface and construct suitable security zones. While developing the network architecture for the new office, what primary security aspect must the manager prioritize to certify the efficiency of the security zones and reduce the organization's attack surface? Implementing network segmentation. Network segmentation involves dividing a network into smaller parts, creating distinct security zones. Network segmentation limits an attacker's ability to move laterally within a network, thereby minimizing the attack surface. A newly established e-commerce company experienced increased web-based attacks on its online shopping platform. As a result, the company installed a web application firewall to enhance its security infrastructure. What primary function should the network security manager ensure the WAF, the web application firewall, is performing to protect the online platform from the most common types of web-based threats, such as cross-site scripting, structured query language injection, and cross-site request forgery? Validate input and output. A web application firewall primarily validates input and output. It safeguards against web-based attacks threats by scrutinizing the data sent and received from the web application to ensure compliance with defined security rules. The network administrator in an organization is reinforcing the security measures of the company's enterprise infrastructure, with a key focus on port security. In an environment with dynamic port usage where different applications request ports on an ad hoc basis, the administrator must consider the most secure method of assigning and managing these ports to mitigate security risk. To secure the enterprise infrastructure optimally, what key measures should the network administrator prioritize in terms of port security? Implementing a dynamic port allocation and management system. Implementing a dynamic port allocation and management system adds in optimizing security by reducing the attack surface, as the system only opens the ports when needed to promptly closes them when not in use. A growing company's IT department is weighing the pros and cons of different architectural models for its next project. The debate narrows down to cloud architecture versus traditional network architecture. During a team meeting, the head of IT security asked a newly hired network specialist to identify the primary security considerations when comparing cloud architecture to traditional network architecture. Based on the conversation in the IT department, which security consideration is most directly associated with cloud architecture compared to traditional architecture? Shared responsibility model with service providers. In cloud services, the division of security responsibilities between the cloud service provider and the customer creates a shared responsibility model. The security manager at a multinational enterprise is devising a plan to enhance the physical security of the organization's data center. The data center hosts critical infrastructure, and a security breach could severely impact operations. The security manager aims to apply appropriate physical isolation principles to secure the infrastructure. What critical strategies should the security manager employ to enhance the data center's physical security through effective physical isolation? Establish separate secure areas for network equipment. Establishing separate secure areas for network equipment is a fundamental aspect of physical isolation. It helps to limit access to critical infrastructure, thereby enhancing its security. An enterprise's IT security team is implementing a new infrastructure designed to optimize security. The team evaluates various security principles considering the organization's expanding remote workforce and increasing reliance on cloud resources. Given the changing dynamics of the enterprise infrastructure, what should the IT team prioritize to ensure a robust security posture for both on-premises and cloud environments? Least privilege and network segmentation. The least privilege principle ensures that users have only the access they need, reducing the risk of insider threats and accidental data breaches. It is vital in both cloud and on-premise environments. Segmenting the network can isolate potential threats and prevent them from moving laterally across the enterprise. It is particularly essential as enterprises grow and diversify their digital assets. A organization's cybersecurity team has recently set up a new firewall and intrusion detection system, IDS, to strengthen the security of its enterprise infrastructure. The IDS, however, has sent a high number of false positive alerts, which hampers efficient threat monitoring. The team believes adjusting the firewall rules will decrease these false positives without weakening the network security. What strategy should the cybersecurity team implement to fine-tune their firewall rules to reduce the IDS's false positives, ensuring a robust security infrastructure? Establish firewall rules for specific threat intelligence. By basing firewall rules on specific threat intelligence, the team can more accurately filter out potential threats while reducing false positives and maintaining security. An organization's flat network segment currently hosts a mailbox server, a client network, and a mail transfer server, all of which need enhanced security. Which redesign option best segregates the network according to the OSI model and secure architecture principles to mitigate vulnerabilities? Segregate with VLANs and control inter-VLAN traffic with ACLs. VLANs with ACLs create secure segments, providing effective internal traffic control without affecting outer layers. This approach not only enhances network performance, but also significantly improves security by isolating different network segments. The Chief Information Security Officer at a medium-sized healthcare company conducts an audit of the company's current security infrastructure. The company has next-generation firewalls deployed at all external network boundaries, and the CISO is evaluating the possibility of supplementing or replacing the NGFWs with unified threat management devices. If the primary concern is to increase the network security without introducing significant management complexity, which of the following strategies should the CISO consider implementing? Implement UTM devices internally and maintain NGFWs at network boundaries. Organizations actively create a balance between enhanced security and manageable complexity when they deploy unified threat management devices internally while also maintaining next-generation firewalls at network boundaries. A network administrator conducts an analysis on the company's network and attempts to determine attack surface, with the intent of reducing exploitable vectors. When analyzing the potential attack surface, which layer model allows unauthorized hosts to obtain a valid network address, possibly by spoofing and communicate with hosts in other zones? Layer 3. For this scenario, Layer 3 allows unauthorized hosts to obtain a valid network address, possibly by spoofing, and communicate with hosts in other zones. A company has expanded its operations to a new location and is setting up its network infrastructure. A significant part of this setup includes strategically placing devices for optional security and efficiency. How should the network security manager decide the optimal placement of the infrastructure of the intrusion detection system in the new network topology to ensure maximum visibility and efficiency without impacting overall network performance? Place the IDS directly behind the router. Placing the IDS directly behind the router ensures visibility of all incoming and outgoing traffic, which is crucial for detecting any unusual patterns or potential threats. A software engineer is tasked with identifying vulnerabilities within the network architecture. When evaluating the use of particular architecture and selection of controls, what should not be considered as part of the architectural considerations? Port security. Port security is not considered an architectural consideration, but does prevent a device attached to a switch port from communicating on the network unless it matches a given MAC address or other protection profile. A company is deciding between migrating its infrastructure to a cloud-based model or maintaining its traditional network architecture. The Chief Technology Officer lists several security considerations for both models. The security analyst identified the key concerns that come with using a cloud-based model due to its distinct nature. Based on its unique characteristics, which security considerations are more closely associated with a cloud-based architecture? Shared responsibility between service providers and customers, and dependency on the service provider's infrastructure for physical hardware security. Cloud-based architectures often use a shared responsibility model where the service provider and the customer have distinct roles in ensuring the system's security. Cloud architectures often place the responsibility of physical hardware management and security on the service provider, differentiating it from traditional models where the company is responsible for its own physical hardware. The network security analyst at a large organization must develop an effective strategy to secure the enterprise network infrastructure. The company operates in multiple regions with varying data regulations and faces increasingly sophisticated cyber threats. The analyst aims to implement appropriate security principles to minimize the network's attack surface. What key strategies should the network security analyst adopt to ensure the most robust security of the enterprise network infrastructure while minimizing the attack surface? Implement network segmentation and isolation. Implementing network segmentation and isolation is an effective way to minimize the attack surface. It divides a network into multiple segments or subnets, each acting as a separate network, thus isolating potential security threats and containing them within a particular segment. A security team in a multinational organization decides to improve the security of their inter-office communications. They agree to use a tunneling protocol that can offer confidentiality, sender authentication, and message integrity. They need a protocol that operates at the network level. Which protocol best fulfills the team's requirements for securing inter-office communications and operates at the network level? Internet Protocol Security. Internet Protocol Security, IPsec, provides confidentiality, sender authentication, and message integrity by functioning at the network level. The IT department in a large multinational corporation faces challenges managing secure communications for remote desk connections. The increasing number of remote employees has made it essential to ensure that their remote desktop connections are secure. The IT department is considering various measures to establish secure communication. Given the challenges the corporation faces, what approach should the IT department adopt to ensure secure communications for remote desktop connections while maintaining the manageability and performance of the enterprise infrastructure? Implement transport layer security for all remote desktop connections. Transport layer security TLS provides secure communication for remote desktop connections by encrypting the data transmitted between the end user and the remote desktop server, reducing the risk of data breaches. The network security engineer at a financial corporation is reviewing the current firewall setup. The corporation faces threats from various cyber attacks, some of which leverage application-specific vulnerabilities. The engineer is considering whether to deploy Layer 4 or Layer 7 firewalls for enhanced security. If the primary concern is to secure against application-specific attacks, which of the following strategies should the network security engineer consider implementing? Deploy Layer 7 firewalls on all network edges. Layer 7 firewalls, also known as application layer firewalls, have the ability to inspect, control, and often modify application level data and are effective against application-specific attacks. A software company implements Secure Shell (SSH) to manage remote servers securely within its enterprise infrastructure. The IT department is aware of the risk associated with improper SSH configurations and wants to optimize the settings to minimize those risks. To improve security and protect against potential vulnerabilities, what configuration should the IT department implement for the SSH protocol to enhance the security management of remote servers in the enterprise infrastructure? Implement public key authentication for SSH. SSH should implement public key authentication to provide more security than password-based authentication and to ward off brute force password attacks. A security analyst at a large organization aims to minimize the attack surface. To reach this goal, the analyst seeks to reduce the vulnerabilities an attacker can exploit, decrease the amount of code in use, and limit system interactions. Which strategy should the security analyst implement to achieve this objective effectively? Implement the principle of least privilege. Implementing the principle of least privilege ensures that users, systems, and processes have the minimum privileges needed to perform their tasks, thus reducing the attack surface. To meet growing concerns of unauthorized access to the company network, a software engineer reviews protocols used in the 802.1 standard that will assist in forcing computers to fully authenticate before being granted full access. What statements are true regarding the Extensible Authentication Protocol, EAP? It provides a framework for deploying multiple types of authentication methods, and it allows for smart card authentication without a password. The Extensible Authentication Protocol, EAP, provides a framework for deploying multiple types of authentication methods, and the Extensible Authentication Protocol framework allows for smart card authentication without a password. As part of new hire orientation, a software technician explores the makeup of the organization's network infrastructure. When reviewing used network applications and protocols, what provides a bridge between a cabled network and wireless host or stations? Wireless access point. Wireless access points provide a bridge between a cabled network and wireless host or stations. Access points work at layer 2 of the OSI model. Wireless devices also use MAC addresses at layer 2. In exploring the tenets of zero trust architecture, a cyber consultant reviews its various benefits and components to determine how the solution can help the company. What components are associated with ZTA? Cloud security and data protection. Cloud security is a component of ZTA that manages access to cloud-based applications, services, and data. And data protection is a component of ZTA that controls and secures access to sensitive data, including the encryption and auditing. A research team of an aerospace organization wants to purchase an operating system that is commonly used in the aerospace industry and can assist in prioritizing deterministic execution of operations to ensure consistent responses are received for time-critical tasks. What type of operating system should the research team purchase? RTOS. The purchase of real-time operations system would be most appropriate as it can assist in prioritizing deterministic execution of operations to ensure consistent response or are received for time-critical tasks. Wow. A cybersecurity analyst at a large corporation is assessing the security implications of transitioning to a hybrid model that incorporates both traditional network and cloud architectures. The corporation aims to leverage the advantages of both architectures while minimizing potential vulnerabilities. The analyst needs to understand the distinctive characteristics of each model to manage risk effectively. Give the differences in the architectural models which statements correctly describe unique features related to the security implications of each model. Cloud architectures actively delegate security tasks between cloud service providers and customers, creating a shared responsibility model. And physical device security and controlled access gain heightened importance in traditional network architectures due to on-site storage devices. One of the defining features of cloud architectures is the shared responsibility model, where both the cloud service provider and the customer have specific delineated security roles. In traditional architectures, with physical devices often stored on-site, there is a critical need to ensure robust physical access controls to prevent unauthorized interventions. The IT department of an organization is preparing to implement new access control measures to enhance the security of its network. The IT team has studied various access control models and is assessing the potential applicability to their needs. Which access control models should the IT team consider if they want to implement access controls based on user roles and security classifications of information? Mandatory access control and role-based access control. In the mandatory access control (MAC) model, the system grants access rights to examining the security classifications assigned to information and the clearances associated with the user. This model focuses on information confidentiality and classification, providing robust control over information flow. The role-based access control model assigns access rights based on users' roles within the system. These roles reflect the user's responsibilities and authority in the system. A network architect at a global financial institution overhauls the company's on-premises network to enhance security and reduce the attack surface. To accomplish this, the architect assesses various architecture models and their respective impact on the on-premises network's security implications. While redesigning the on-premises network, which architecture derivative model could effectively decrease the attack surface? A centralized architecture. Centralized computing architecture refers to a model where all data processing and storage is performed in a single location, typically a central server, that can help minimize threat vectors. A software engineer reviews the use of SCADA applications associated with various industries. What sector of industry refers specifically to mining and refining raw materials involving hazardous high heat and pressure furnaces? Industrial. The industrial sector can refer specifically to mining and refining raw materials involving hazardous high heat and pressure furnaces, presses, centrifuges, and pumps. The IT department of a medium-sized enterprise is reviewing its network architecture with a focus on increasing security and efficiency. The organization currently uses a flat network model, but the security team has proposed implementing virtual local area networks, VLANs, to compartmentalize traffic and minimize potential attack surfaces. The team's goal is to limit lateral movement between network devices and enforce a principle of least privilege across the network. Considering this security improvement initiative, what is a major benefit of integrating VLANs into the existing network architecture from a security standpoint, isolating network traffic and reducing the potential attack surface. VLANs isolate network traffic and reduce the potential attack surface, enabling the logical segmentation of networks into isolated broadcast domains. As a result, they limit lateral movement and reduce the potential attack surface. A network engineer reviews the security implications tied to cloud architecture models as the company plans to move data off premises at the end of the year. What model provides flexibility by allowing the company to store sensitive data to a private cloud infrastructure and non-sensitive information on a public cloud infrastructure? Hybrid architecture. In this scenario, a hybrid architecture provides greater flexibility and control over sensitive data and applications, allowing customers to store data on private cloud infrastructure while using public cloud infrastructure for less sensitive workloads. An organization's security officer is actively developing a new data protection strategy. The plan aims to fortify the integrity of data stored on the company's servers to uphold the confidentiality, integrity, and availability triad principles. In this development process, which data protection methods should the security officer primarily implement to ensure the accuracy and consistency of data over its entire lifecycle according to the principles of the CIA triad, particularly focusing on enhancing the integrity aspect? Checksum verification. Checksum verification not only assures the integrity aspect of the CIA triad, but also significantly bolsters data integrity by minimizing the risk of data corruption. Following a recent insider threat breach, a network engineer reviews the company's zero trust architecture policy to ensure all aspects are accurate and aspects of the control and data plans are implemented correctly. What statements are true regarding the control plan of the zero trust architecture? It manages policies that dictate how users and devices are authorized to access network resources, and it is implemented through a centralized policy decision point. One aspect of the control plane is that it manages policies that dictate how users and devices are authorized to access network resources. The control plane is implemented through a centralized policy decision point. The policy decision point is comprised of two subsystems, the policy engine and the policy administrator. Upon learning that the organization is looking to enhance network security solutions for the corporate office, a software technician explores the benefits of deploying a zero trust architecture, ZTA. What is not a key benefit of using a ZTA? Decreased granularity. To the contrary of decreased granularity, a key benefit of deploying ZTA is to have increased granularity, as it grants users access to what they need when they need it. The network security engineer at a multinational company is preparing to introduce a new network infrastructure model. The company's objective is to minimize the attack surface by implementing effective port security measures. To accomplish this, the engineer is evaluating the security implications of various architecture models and their compatibility with port security measures. Since the network security engineer plans to deploy port security to minimize the attack surface, which architecture model can best assist in supporting and enhancing the effectiveness of port security? Client-server model. The client-server model can enhance the effectiveness of port security as it has centralized servers, making it easier to monitor and manage port security. To improve security, the security team at a growing tech company aims to update its infrastructure. They explore different architecture models and ponder the implications of logical segmentation. To curb lateral movement within the network, in case an intruder accesses one segment, the team plans to split the network into smaller, isolated segments, each boasting its own resources and security controls. Considering this strategy to boost security, which architecture model would optimally support the logical segmentation strategy? Client-server model. The client-server model best supports logical segmentation. In this model, clients request services and servers provide those services. This model is more suitable for segmentation as each segment can have its own server that manages its resources and security controls. The Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, for a regional textile company tasks a cyber team with reviewing the security implications on available cloud architecture models as the business anticipates transitioning to a cloud environment within the next year. What model offers the highest level of security and allows the individual customer to have complete control over infrastructure? Single tenant architecture. In this scenario, a single tenant architecture provides dedicated infrastructure to a single customer, ensuring that only the customer can access the infrastructure. This model offers the highest level of security as the customer has complete control of the infrastructure.